Hi everybody, this video is going to talk about distributive property. So you should have just this page for distributive property, and we are going to actually start inside where you can see Coca-Cola, hamburger, fries, and Doritos. Okay, so we're going to talk about combo meals. So when you go to a restaurant, they might actually offer you a combo meal, which is basically like, hey, I'm going to go in and I'm going to get, a cheeseburger and a soda and fries, all as one big meal, okay? And so essentially what you're going to see here in these problems, and they come in a bag, right? So we're going to pretend like the parentheses is the bag that the combo meal comes in. And so this parentheses, this is inside the bag. And this 7 is basically an order that says, hey, I want 7 of these bags, okay? So if I want 7 of these bags, what do I need to get from the kitchen? Well, I need to get 7 Cokes. I need to get 7 burgers. I need to get 7 fries. And I need to get 7 Doritos. Right? So essentially I took this 7 and I multiplied it by the Cokes, by the burgers, by the fries, and by the Doritos. So I distributed it, okay? Distribute means to give out, okay? So I gave the 7, I need 7 Cokes, 7 burgers, 7 fries, and 7 Doritos. That 7 was given to everything. Okay, so in the second bag, here we are, we've got our bag. The parentheses are going to pretend that we're going to be representing the bag. Okay, so in one combo here, I'm going to get 5 waters, a hot dog, and some Cheetos. So, what am I going to do if I want 4 of these combo meals? Well, how many sodas these are not sodas. How many waters am I going to need to get? Well, I need 4 groups of 5. So that means I'm going to get 4 times 5, or 20 waters. So I did 4 times 5. And then how many hot dogs am I going to get? Well, 4 hot dogs. And how many chips am I going to get? Cheetos. 4 Cheetos. That's what's inside my bag. Okay? And I can put a plus sign in between all of them if I wanted to, because that's just saying put them together, add all that to the bag. Okay? Alright. So on this next one, my meal just consists of a burger and fries. So if I want 5 bags of burgers and fries, I want 5 burgers and 5 fries. I could represent burgers with just a B. So 5 burgers plus 5 fries. And I could represent fries with just an F. So this would look like this. 5B plus F. And I would do 5B plus 5F. Make sense? 5 burgers and 5 fries. 5 times B and 5 times F. Okay, and then down here we've got how many sodas and hot dogs would I need? Well, this is 2 times 3 sodas, so it would be 6 sodas, or 6 Cokes, let's put Cokes. And then 2 times 2 hot dogs, I'm going to need 2 groups of 2 hot dogs, or 4 hot dogs. Okay. Now, if I represented my sodas or my Cokes with a C, that's going to be 3C. And if I represented my hot dogs with a H, that would be 2H. And just like we did, 2 times 3 and 2 times 2. 2 times 3 is your 6, and 2 times 2 is your 4 for your hot dogs. So then down here, we're going to do the same thing. This is 4 hot dogs, and this is 3 Cokes. So this is how many hot dogs am I going to need? Well, it's 3 times 4, which is 12 hot dogs. And 3 times 3 Cokes, or 3 groups of Cokes, is 9 Cokes. 3 times 3. Okay. So essentially the distributive property just basically means we're going to multiply this number on the outside of the bag by everything that's inside the bag. Okay? Alright, so let's write those notes out here on the front. So what I typically say to do is step 1, you're going to box the expression that's inside the parentheses, or inside the bag. We need to figure out how many terms there are, okay? Then we're going to multiply a number on the outside of the bag, multiply the number on the outside of the bag by each number inside. And then lastly, we're going to combine like terms if needed. Okay. Remember, if I'm going too fast for you, go ahead and push pause and write down those notes. Okay? Alright, so let's do a couple of super easy examples here. We're going to start with this first one. So step 1, we're going to box the expression inside the parentheses. Remember, we're going to separate it before the plus sign. And then we're going to say, okay, 6 times m, and then also 6 times 5. Okay? So my solution, 6 times m is 6m, 6 times 5 is 30. So this is going to be 6m and 30. Now what kind of 30 is this? It's a positive 30, so we say plus 30, and that's our solution. Okay? Pretty simple, right? Box it up, multiply by each number inside the parentheses. Okay, so box it up, separate it out. Don't forget your separation always happens before the addition or subtraction sign. So we're going to do 5 times 4p. That's a G. Sorry. 5 times 4p. And we're also going to do 5 times. Now, remember, it's times everything inside the box. So what kind of 6 is this? It's a negative 6. So 5 times negative 6. 5 times 4p is 20p. And 5 times negative 6, excuse me, is negative 30. So this one is 20p minus 30. When we put them together, this negative sign turns into a subtraction sign. Okay. Alright, the next one. Box it up. And it's negative 8 times 5a. And it's negative 8 times positive 2. Negative 8 times 5a is negative 40 with an a at the end. And negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. So this one's negative 40a and then minus 16. That negative turned into a minus sign in the problem because it's in the middle. Okay? Box it up, multiply it out. This is negative 4 times negative 6, G, and negative 4 times negative 7. Negative 4 times negative 6G is positive 24G. And negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28. So this is 24G and then plus 28 when you put them together. Okay. Remember, if I was going too fast, go ahead and push pause. If you missed some of it, push rewind and watch it again. But the big idea is that you need to know what the terms are inside. If there's 2 terms, you're multiplying twice. If there's 3 terms, you're going to multiply 3 times. Okay? So everything that's inside the parentheses. Okay? Alright, so I've just got 4 more examples. And here we go on the first one. We're going to box the inside of the parentheses up. I'm not going to write all the words out here, but I know I'm going to do 6 times 4x. I'm going to do 6 times negative 2y. and I'm going to do 6 times z. Now I'm not writing my multiplication sign using an x because an x looks like the x here, so I made sure I used a dot. You could also use parentheses. Okay, so 6 times 4x is 24x. 6 times negative 2y is negative 12y. And 6 times z, well, remember there's a 1 hiding right here. 1z is going to be 6z. And then we just put them all together. So it's 24x, negative 12y, which turns into a minus sign. And what kind of 6z is this? It's positive. So plus 6z. So once again, if you have more than 2 terms inside, you're just going to multiply it all 3 times. Okay? Sometimes we have a situation where we have something that's not in the parentheses. This 10 does not get multiplied by this 20. We wait until after we're done multiplying this part of it to multiply by that negative 20. So once again, we still box what's inside the parentheses. So we're going to do 10 times 4a. And we're also going to do 10 times negative 6. 10 times 4a is 40a. 10 times negative 6 is negative 60. So this is 40a minus 60, but that's just for this part. Then I also have minus 20. Now, in this case, we have 2 terms that are constants, okay? Negative 60 and negative 20 do not have letters next to them, so we have to combine them together. So on your calculator, this is a prime example of when to use which button, okay? So this is minus 60 and then minus 20, but here, if I take away the 40a, this first part right here, that's at the beginning, and now it turns back into a subtraction sign. I'm sorry, a negative sign. So we're going to push this negative button at the bottom of our calculator to start with, so we'll say negative 60, and then in between, that's a minus sign, so we're going to say minus 20. That gets us negative 80. So this is 40a minus 80. Okay? So that's example 2. Alright, the last example is example 3, and it's 1/4 times 8a, and it's 1/4 times 2. Okay, so notice you can write it using a dot, or you can put them in parentheses, whatever works for you. Usually if it's a fraction, I usually put them in parentheses. Now, what's really cool is if we have one with a fraction, our calculator will do a fraction for us. If you push these buttons, alpha, and then y equals, and then enter, that's what you do to get fractions. So we're going to push the alpha button, then the y equals button, then the enters button, and that will do fractions for us. Okay? Alpha, y equals, and then enter. Okay, so here we are. Here's our calculator all set up. The alpha button is going to be this green button right here. Okay, and the y equals button is going to be this button above it. You're going to get really familiar with that button. It's going to pull up this menu. Right now we're just going to deal with this first little part of the menu, so we're just going to push enter. And if you see, it lets you type in a fraction. So you type 1, and then to get down to the bottom, you arrow down and type 4. Then you come out, parentheses 8. Am I going to put the a in there? No, I'm only going to put the 8. We don't put letters on this screen in our calculator. And so 1/4 times 8 is 2. So the first one is 2a. And then we're going to do it again. So we're going to push alpha, y equals, and then enter. That gets us our fraction. 1, arrow down to get the 4. And we're going to say times 2. And 1/4 times 2 is 1/2. So the answer to this problem is 2a. And then what kind of 1/2 is this? Well, it's 1/4 times 2, so it's positive. So plus 1/2. That is the answer. Okay? Alright, this last example, Susie writes 5 times 3x plus 3 is equal to 15x plus 3. What was her mistake? So, if we follow the rules, we're going to box up the 5 times 3x plus 3. So she's supposed to do 5 times 3x, and she's supposed to do 5 times 3. Well, 5 times 3x is 15x, and 5 times 3 is 15. So she should have gotten 15x plus 15, because that's positive 15. What is different from her answer? Well, she forgot to multiply the second term by 5. So she didn't multiply the second one by 5. So the second term by 5. That's what she did wrong in example 4. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you glue this down on the correct page in your spiral. You just fold it in half and glue it down on that page. Okay? Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.